because of corporate greed, a lot of that stuff is being taken away, and we're left with what we're left with in today's music. So today's talk is not about bashing anything, but it's about finding out where we went wrong and what we need to do to get back on course. So with that being said, I want to welcome the great Dr. Logan Westbrooks. Thank you, Dr. Westbrooks, for joining us.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come on your show. I appreciate this.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, Dr. Westbrooks, for those who don't know, can you tell the people your background before we get to the what was written in your books? Can you tell the people your background and how we got here?
Well, I hail from Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. And after high school, I attended Lemoyne College for 2 years there in Memphis. And then I transferred to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri, majoring in business administration. And after leaving Lincoln, I spent 24 months in the military. And from there, I moved to Chicago, Illinois. My brother was living in Chicago. He was a graduate of Illinois, University of Chicago. So I joined him in Chicago. That's where I wanted to be. My brother's in Chicago. So while there, I was hired by Johnson Publishing Company as a merchandising salesman. And while working for Johnson Publishing Company, I was contacted by the Urban League, and they informed me that RCA Victor record company was in the process of trying to locate young Black men to hire in a management training program. So I applied and I was accepted. And I was accepted to work in a management training program out of RCA Victor Distributing Corps out of Des Plaines, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. And as a distributor, they were distributing RCA records. They were distributing they called home entertainment centers. There were those big TV screens with the record player and the radio all combined in one big unit. They also was distributing Whirlpool washers and dryers. And as a management trainee, I would work in the various areas of the company, whether it was in television, home entertainment centers, or the Whirlpool washers, or the record division. And as you move around in the various divisions of the company, you're trying to find what is the best fit in this management training program. And ironically, I had just recently gotten married. And while working there in the management training program, there was a recording artist, matter of fact, country and western artist, that was on RCA label that was appearing at one of the major hotels downtown Chicago. And I asked the sales manager of the record division if I could have a pair of tickets. And this was a great opportunity for a free night out, the company's expense. My wife and I newlyweds, money's is short. And he said, "Oh, are you interested in the music?" I said, "Of course." And he said, "Well, how would you like to work in the record division next?" Fine. So my next assignment was working in the record division, see what was happening in that. And working in the record division, that really was the beginning of this journey that I've been on for about the past 50 years. And in the record division, they had Sam Cooke was one of the top artists, ironically a Black artist, and Elvis Presley. So consequently, that's the product that I was working initially, Elvis Presley and Sam Cooke. And then came the 8-track tape business. Now, the 8-track tape was sold through service stations. Reason being, the Learjet people who manufactured the player, you could purchase and install them at the service station. So consequently, my job was to go out to the various service stations and put them on open account status. So when you install the 8-track player, here is a rack of different RCA Victor 8-track tapes that you can purchase. So that was my job, going around opening up those kinds of outlets. Now, what was happening there, with this being a new product, the regular sales staff didn't want to bother with that. So as a trainee, that assignment was given to me. And as I was moving around the city and opening up these different outlets to sell these 8-track tapes, I had heard about a position that they was offering there at the Capitol Records. They wanted to hire their very first, they called a territory salesman.
Mhm.
And this is an individual that goes into the various record stores and take orders on their product. So I applied for that job at Capitol Records and I was hired. Now, some of the artists that I was dealing with on the black side, for instance, was Cannonball Adderley.
Mm.
There was Nancy Wilson. There was Lou Rawls. So this was the kind of acts
Oh
and the
my
caliber
God.
of people that I started working with that I was meeting. Cannonball Adderley in particular, which is such a great gentleman. So I worked in that position as a territory salesman for about a year. Now, it also meant naturally, as a black salesman, my main concern was all the black retail stores throughout the city. But to give me a full, complete territory, a number of white accounts was placed in there as well. And so I had some country and western accounts, black R&B accounts, as well as classical accounts. And I was in that position for about a year. And then there was another position open up at Capitol Records, which is called a regional promotion manager. And in that job, one's responsibility is to go into the various radio stations and secure airplay on the records that you are working. As an example, say if Cannonball Adderley releases a single record, it would be that person's responsibility to go into the various records, radio stations to secure airplay on that record. And that also gave me a wider territory because now I'm based in Chicago, but I am responsible for the entire Midwest,
Mm.
which picked up Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Kansas City. That was my territory. And on a weekly basis, I would leave say on a Tuesday morning from Chicago, and I would go to Detroit, and Detroit, in Cleveland, and in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and come on back. And then on Friday, I would end up back in Chicago, and that's where I do my reports and things such as that, and also make an analysis on the radio station that I had picked up. So I was in that position for about a year. And then the national promotion manager at Capitol changed, and this guy named Reggie Lavong, who was the former program director of WWRA radio station in New York City. So he was hired as the national promotion manager for Capitol Records. And I met with him, and then he asked me, would I be interested in moving to Los Angeles as his administrative assistant? And of course, this is a greater position, more money, and then moved to Los Angeles and working out of the home office. So I accepted the job. And my wife and I, we moved to Los Angeles in that position as the assistant to the national promote, as the assistant to the director of national promotion. And I was in that position for less than a year. And then I received a call. There was a position that opened up at Mercury Records in Chicago. So that would mean I've got to return to Chicago because I just left Chicago. But this is a national position. And at that particular time, Mercury Records was the only national company that was based in Chicago. So now my wife and I, we packed up and we moved back to Chicago. And I was in that position there at Mercury Records as the national promotion director of R&B music, meaning black music.
Mhm.
And of course, now I'm working with Jerry Butler, Melba Moore,
The Iceman.
Buddy Miles, Rod Stewart. So these are the kind of acts that I'm working with here now.